lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, and I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another? We shared the same respect. What is happening? We're trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Where I'm from. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won. You're so much better than that. Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No, it's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Meera Batra. I have been in this country 32 years, and this is how I live united. America has always been the land of promise, and in my community, many families have come for a better life. Coming from another culture myself, I know the desire to become part of a community, to feel at home, and to gain the tools for our children and families to succeed. So I advocate for these families with United Way. United Way empowers them to look beyond their histories and to see what opportunities are available. We help them get involved with their kids' schools, network within the community, and when we do, we unite them. We make the community stronger. What I do is something I wish someone had done for me, and I am so grateful I am able to. My name is Meera Batra. I help families see opportunities and succeed. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com. Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Amen. God, please bless Baltimore, the city that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the north side to the south side, to the east side, to the west. God, please bless Baltimore, my home, sweet home. God, please bless Baltimore, my home, sweet. Come on, go away. Home, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you got that for me. All right.
Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I am Nate. My collar's choked up, Mr. Couser. And I'm here today. We have a special guest returning. She is a phenomenal, she just had a really great energy. First time she came on, Miss Whitney Chante'l. She's a Maryland resident artist, writer, producer, mom, new wife. She has a lot of new things to talk about when she come on, and she'll be getting here shortly. She's in that 295 traffic from DC, so bear with her. She'll be here shortly. Also joining us shortly will be our co-host, Mr. Noah. I won't be here for the second part of the show, but I am going to meet with two of my favorite guests, Miss Rich Berg and Mrs. Sunny Dumarce. He's performing tonight at the Bethesda Jazz Club. So I'll be there tonight, actually performing with Life Jennings. So I got an invitation to go, and we're going to meet and do some interviews. So I'll be there collecting some information. You'll be able to see what we're doing after. But this week, today actually marked a week-long professional development training like I've never been to before. I work with a company called LTYC. If you are an artist of any kind and you like to share your work with specifically young people, and you like to teach people what you do, I suggest you look up LTYC. That's LTYC, Leaders of Tomorrow Youth Center. You can go to them on Facebook, on Instagram, find them on Twitter, or you can look them up, Google them. I'll list that information. The director of that program will be here on the 30th of next month to kind of close out a mentoring program that I have been doing this summer with a couple young people. And I really want to just applaud, but also it kind of, I was kind of lost at moments because we had an awesome day on, I want to say that was Wednesday, where we got to do a full round circle of maybe like 30-some people from the ages of early 20s to maybe 50s, and we went around and we did this theater game that I've played before called Close Encounters, where you say something, you share something. It's normally you share something good, you share something bad that's happened to you, like your worst day, your best day, and then there are other variations of it. And I saw a group of people collectively share like some gut-wrenching things that have happened to them in their life, and it is very, it took me back to this acknowledge that all these people in this room are going through things. And one of the things that stuck out to me was there were a couple people who were friends already, who consoled each other, but for the most part, most of the other people, specifically the guys, were left out there to kind of be in their emotions by themselves. And some of these people who are always super bubbly and super positive and don't look like they have a bad day in life, shared some really dark and really humbling and really traumatic things that have happened to them in their lives. And I'm not a person that cries easily, and I wasn't. It takes a lot for me to cry, like a lot. But this was, it almost felt overwhelming, and if it had went on any longer, I may have broken, but it definitely made me feel something. And from that moment on, I began to observe more so than be in the moment, and I became an observing eye in how people reacted to each other and how things changed from the beginning of the week to the end of the week and how people related to each other. And I sometimes am a watching eye in my life. I do that a lot. I observe people. I like to watch people in their element. I like to see people who don't know somebody's watching them. I like to see people just in their natural state doing what they do. And it was very interesting to have this meeting. We had it at Center Stage, one of my favorite stages in the city for theater. But this was definitely something new in terms of being a teacher. And you, as a teacher, you do professional development all the time, but never like this, never to this extent, never with this type of energy in the space. And it definitely took me back, like I said, and it really showed me, because often we don't get the support or recognition that we need in terms of being teachers, but this definitely spotlighted a lot of things, a lot of issues that we deal with in teaching people's children and being in the classroom, and it made me more comfortable this year going into a school, especially a new school. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. As you know, this month is all about self-care and how we support ourselves. And we're keeping ourselves refreshed and replenished and just helping us to continue to move forward in a healthy, more conducive manner. In the last couple of weeks, we've talked more about relationships. Last Friday when Blue was here, we talked about real close relationships and how we relate to each other and how things aren't always healthy, and how we can maintain those boundaries. So in starting this week, well, actually Monday, we talked more about just practices and situations where we put ourselves in and we not always our best. And that was actually the beginning of this week where I was doing some training. I did my professional development for the school system, the organization that I work for, and us going into this year. And it was really it was hard, it was difficult, it was, how can I say, it was different and how I wanted to go into this show. So self-care in terms of learning to say no, setting boundaries, learning how to withdraw yourself when you need to, and standing tall in that. So today, as we ended the program, I felt, not necessarily, I don't think I felt overwhelmed, but I wanted to capture what was going on from the outside. And our director, I guess she didn't like it, and she kind of tried to push me into doing something that I didn't want to do. And it wasn't that I was feeling some kind of way, or I just wanted to observe things in a different way. And I think often we all do this, where we are leading something or we are part of something and we want everybody to get it the same way. And the same thing happened yesterday. We were in some small groups amongst our classes that we teach. So I teach theater, so we was in our theater huddle, and one of the young ladies wanted me to get it the way she wanted me to get it. And that frustrates me because, especially as teachers, with the whole point of this professional development is how to incorporate different learning styles into our classroom. And I notice with adults, we forget that when we're dealing with other adults too. And I don't have any triggers or anything like that. I'm just I learn differently. And sometimes I can't always be in what it is that I'm learning actively. Sometimes it takes me watching stuff. So I'm a visual learner and somewhat of a hands-on learner. So once I see it, then I can mimic it, and then I can walk my way through it. And remember what I saw, and then that's how it is. I do the same thing when I'm learning lines. Often I have to say the line out loud, I have to do it, and then normally because of that repetition and me saying it and doing it and then watching somebody else in it, then I can get it, and I catch on so much faster. And I think sometimes we push each other to do things because this is how I want it done. And we don't take into consideration that adults, just like children, learn differently, we process information differently, we take in information differently, and that's different from processing. Is once you already got it, how do you interpret it? We listen differently, we watch differently, we handle differently. So we have to be really mindful in what our limitations and our restrictions are, even as it pertains to other people. And I'm just really recently, in the last couple of years, I'll say, I've gotten really strong and no, I need it to be done this way. in terms of how I learn. I don't put that on other people. If other people need different ways, I'm really open to that because I know how I am now. And for so long, especially as a child, and I always would wonder why I didn't learn things the way other people learn things. And it all came back to me this week because there was a specific way that I knew I was comfortable with learning. I can't always be active. Sometimes I have to sit and listen. So taking notes has always gotten me in trouble in school because I've gotten physically reprimanded for not sitting down, physically writing while someone is teaching me something. Like I've literally gotten into trouble for that. And everybody can't listen and write. Everybody doesn't articulate and take in information and process information the same way. So if you want me to really listen, don't try to force me to write something. And I've had that happen to me in the last couple months a lot. So people don't think that I'm listening and I'm trying to listen, and often it distracts me to watch something and listen. And I'm just learning. Well, I've always known my learning style, but it's just now I'm taking heed to it. So I ask you all the question, like, what's your learning style? So I know we're talking about self-care, but what is your learning style? How do you best learn? Are you a practical learner where you gotta be in it physically with your hands, touching and feeling it, or demonstrating it? Are you thank you, or are you a visual learner where you have to sit and watch? Are you an audio learner where it takes you having to listen and blank everything else out? But what is your learning style? How do you best learn? I'm going to put that question actually on our Facebook page and see what people are. But I'd like to see in the comment section, if you're watching, let me know, like, what's your best way? How do you best learn? How do you best take in information? And have you been allowed to do things that way? Because we often have teachers, just like we have teachers that are right-handed, and they're not necessarily forcing me to be right-handed, but they don't understand how it's different being a left-handed person. So we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to post that question on the page. Let me know what your answer is. So we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
This unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new and take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, it's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels off from me. Oh no, she couldn't get the feels off from me. Touching hands till we dance in the dark. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels off from me. We do whatever you like. Get the feels off from me. Oh no, she couldn't get the feels off from me. Let's slide, you and me alone, to find who we really are. Crash into something.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. So no matter what you up, you gotta go hard. imagine how really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father dead. Mom's bringing different niggas in and out the crib. No money, so you seen this less than all your friends. But it a joke because your mother was a crackhead. Older sister hoeing off, giving all the homies head. I could wait for your response, but they let her hear me talk, so I'll just wait for the applause. I always knew that I was great.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up? Give me 1 second, come. So we're back here on the Artist Exchange Radio, and we're talking about self-care. So we're talking about self-care for educators, and actually parents can probably take heed to this too, and people in the school system. And I wanted to mainly talk to people who educate, but people who deal with children, especially groups of children at one time. I wanted to kind of, this first part of the conversation, deal with self-care for you. And I pulled some, we actually learned some techniques this week, but some things that I've been researching a couple articles on this because one, I need to start practicing some self-care. I normally get up really, early in the morning with enough time to get ready and get out the door. And I'm finding that leaves me rushed, even if I'm early or on time for my class. Most times I am on time, but it doesn't really, you can't wait till you get to the classroom to kind of do that. You should start that when you get up. So by the time you get to the room where you're actually teaching or in front of your students or in your classroom, you're just refreshing yourself. You're kind of maintaining that, and between each class, you're kind of doing things to kind of get yourself ready, because normally, like, there's no time in between classes. You normally get like a minute, if that, to kind of reset yourself and re-energize yourself where you got to be on. So that means you should start before you leave the house. So during the day, small ways to stay grounded. Here are a few items folks keep in their desk for the little pick-me-ups. Normally list a snack, maybe something to drink. Water, lots of water to stay hydrated. I'm not really a big snacker, so I've really tried to focus on doing things for myself that keep me energized. One of my worst habits is I don't eat breakfast. Last year, I started to try to get up and eat breakfast, and I would take it, and I tried to get up extra early, get to the school maybe like 45 minutes early so I can sit down, I can have breakfast, I can kind of chill out and do it. That makes the biggest difference, trying to eat something before you get in front of any group of people, or like especially for teachers, practicing that self-care before you get home kind of will help you kind of relax yourself and rejuvenate and get yourself ready and you have the energy to kind of do this. And many of us are about to go back either next week or the week after. Some teachers are already back now. So practicing this, try to eat something before you go out. And I know many of us are in a rush and retire and we do multiple things. There are a lot of teachers that are parents themselves, so they're getting other children ready. So trying to get up before then, or try to schedule yourself where as though when you're feeding your children, you can sit down and eat as well, and try to do things that way you're not snacking. Because I gained a lot of weight last year because I had to think about convenience. And I wasn't driving, so I was lifting back and forth, and I had to, I was snacking, and that wasn't good for me, and it really didn't pay off at the end of the year when I went to do that physical, and I realized I had gained this many pounds, and it really threw me off. And then I was starting to sleep differently because I wasn't eating, and then I had this different schedule ahead of me. So the first tip is to eat well. And that's one of my big things. And kind of keep things in your desk where you can munch on it or something healthy. And I know that's kind of, I don't want to eat nothing healthy, but something that won't weigh you down or fill you up, but just keep you moving. Like I like snacking on peanuts or like raisins or even fruit if it can sit out that long. I got a few minutes during passing time or prep time, some 2-minute strategies to take care of yourself. Now, the things I'm about to read, I don't do these things, but I can see how it could help. So it says, do a few yoga poses or stretches to get your blood moving. Get out of the building for fresh air and change of scenery. Take a mindful moment and pay attention to your breathing to center yourself. Now, there's some variations on all three of those things, but it's normally no time in between classes other than maybe a lunch break to kind of get outside or get outside of the classroom. And I went to 2 different schools last year, and my routine for the first school, I had moments where I could do that. I could go to the other teacher's room, or she could come to my room, or it was 3 of us, and I had my own actual room so I could do those things. And there wasn't really any time, so all my classes were back to back. The second school that I went to, the schedule was totally different. It was still back to back, but I had some walking time in between, which was helpful because I didn't have my own room. I was going to rooms. So the walking time between the class, I kind of paced myself and had enough time to get to the next room without rushing. But there wasn't anybody else to kind of piggyback off of that was in my program. But I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I think our guest or our co-host is here. So I want to take a quick commercial break, come back, reset, rejuvenate, and just get back to it. So this is the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere.
Take a minute and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Any trouble, because I get into any trouble, but I had a problem that this then became a discussion at that workplace environment. Now, the discussion was I should have been more sensitive. In what way was my first response? And I guess when I had to meet with that said person who had the issue with the person who was said leader of that organization.
Okay.
I said, well, to that person, how would I have known that? Well, you should have asked.
I think so. You want my opinion?
It was a circle, and I was willing to go on that merry-go-round.
You are better than most.
Yeah.
I think that's normal when you're in a group and there's norming. Most of the time when you're in new work environments or you're in a space where you're getting to know people, it's normal now to ask for people's preferred pronouns. You wouldn't have known that.
Normal to who? What is normal?
Well, you work in social... You work in social innovation and
my pronouns, so it's not normal to me.
You don't, but I think because I feel like the person was probably offended because they felt like you were not honoring whoever they are, right? But you wouldn't have known that.
Still to this moment, I don't know what their pronouns are. So in that
they didn't offer
circle, we still don't know So I'll go as far as saying I perceived it to be a she.
Perceive them to be a she.
Them.
Yeah.
Her, him, they, them.
It seems like they, them would be the easiest one on this one.
Join us every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. for the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Skirt, 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 skirt. Start, skirt, 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 start, start. I be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I be up in the way. 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 Bedroom phone ring, girl in t-shirt answers me. I get off on the way that she answers me. First time saw her, I knew she was the one for me. Ever since then, we've been vibing on some chemistry. It's just a matter of time. I know she feeling my vibe. I got the keys to the ride. She put her hands on my thigh. She got that look in her eye. SL what I'm riding. Royalty, call me highness. All day and overnighted. Cause it's crunch time when I'm grinding. This Adderall got me nauseous. Proceed with caution. Tired of lanes, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zanny Zan, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. Wait, where I'm going? Wait, where I'm going? Out of space where I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. 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 Can I talk to you? I've been working hard. I've been up all night. I just been so high. I feel nothing off the sands. Withdrawals killing me. I need something to sleep. Need you on top of me. I need to get high. Dreams designer all night. Chanel should be haunting my dreams. Wearing my clear on my sleeve. I'm not who you need me to be. Indigo sound for the team. Royalty sound for the team. Hippie vibing for the team. I need space, girl. I need to get out, yeah. Slow my motions, leaning. I've been out, yeah. Never worry about me. I've been chilling. Can't do this no more. I'm in my feelings. Can't put your business all out in the open.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up! Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now listen to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business-minded individuals and just people in general. I let my gut, and if I call it gut or God or whatever, I'm led by that.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com.
I am your co-host, Brother Noah. Of course, you know your magnificent host, Nate. And we have our guest.
Whitney Chante'l.
Sorry?
Whitney Chante'l.
Whitney Chante'l.
Well, no, we can't say that anymore because she's not just a young lady anymore. She's somebody's mom and wife and entertainer.
Yes.
So, what's the order? Throw you right out
I'm
there.
someone's mom, wife, and I'm an entertainer.
Okay. Wow. So that's a healthy approach.
Yeah.
Because some people try to keep them all balanced, and this balance is only good, but you realize something has to teeter at some point.
I put, of course, my daughter first, mainly because like it's not gonna hurt my husband to be second.
He gonna get it.
Right.
He'll be all right.
But yeah.
So what's changed other than motherhood and wifehood since you last been here? It's been almost a year.
Yeah, it has been a year. I released an EP called Conflicted. I was working on that for like 2-3 years, honestly.
Okay.
And I released it as like a release for myself, like just to get, like not to say it in a bad way, but like to get it out of the way, like to get it over with. Like I felt like working on that project for so long was like harvesting a lot of bad negative energy for myself, because that was me writing songs from a place that I was no longer in anymore. Like I was in a really dark place when I was writing Conflicted for all those years, and now that I'm someone's mom and someone's wife, it's like, why am I still listening to, well, not listening to these songs, but like why am I still like working on these songs? Because I'm not in these
You
places
felt
anymore.
like a pull to be more lighter and more.
Yeah.
I got you.
So like my next project that I'm working on is a lot more mature one. Well, no, not to say that my music before wasn't mature, because it was, but like this one is more in like you can tell that she's gone through something and she's worked through something and she's definitely different.
Right.
So it's more mature in that sense. It's no longer just talking about like hooking up with guys or like partying or anything like that. It's more so like I've settled into being the woman that I want to be.
Well, you gonna be tired. You trying to do that and
Yeah.
come on, you gonna be super tired.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that's really changed since the last time I was here. Well, no. I'm completely independent now. Like I don't have any type of management or anyone speaking for me. Anything that I do is completely for me. But other
Is
than
that different? Because you had a tight ship that you all were running, versus now you were in charge then, but now you are now making the decisions and you're the talent.
Well, before I even met the management that I was working with last year, I was doing everything by myself. And that was hard, but I still got it done. I found that when I started working with the management, I became a micromanager. And I didn't like being told that I couldn't see certain things, or I couldn't control certain things, or I didn't like that I couldn't personally book things for me, or I couldn't personally meet people that I was about to work with until I got there. Like I just didn't like that, because it felt
controlled.
Yeah, I don't like being controlled, even though I do have a song called Control.
I was listening.
Yeah, but that's control in a whole different sense of it. But other than that, like I didn't like that because it didn't feel personal.
Well, I think, and as artists, and I'm quite sure Noah about to get it himself. I'm about to put on the management hat. But you, like, and I'm quite sure if you've been to the doctor normally says, we're driving this car, you're in control of where it goes. It's just that I'm here now helping you. And I think some management, without getting into any personal stories, I think some of the teams get it twisted, and you have to always be the person in control of your decisions. And we hear that from a lot of artists, and then where they now stories where they let people sign checks and they let people make decisions, and you have to always maintain that control, because this is it could be a partnership, but I'm still paying you, so you have to balance that and still keep the control.
Yeah.
Well, you know that going into a next agreement with the management?
Yes, of course. But I also think that I wouldn't be looking for a manager. And if I do look for a manager, not a business manager, I want more of a personal manager and like a marketing team That's about it.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't think I would want a business manager.
I may have someone for you.
Oh, but you don't got no one for me though.
Well, I am that for you. Let's
Okay.
keep that in concern. But I'm saying, I know a lovely young lady that I may send you.
Well, send it my way because I'm definitely looking for that. But and then that was a unique situation as well. But other than that,
what did you learn from it? What did you take from that journey that you just coming out of?
Never, ever, never mix business with personal. Not even my husband works, like, I run things by him, but he has no say in like what I do or like anything like that, unless it's like money, because he's really good at money. He works in IT, so
let people
really
stay in there strong.
Yeah. So never do that, like ever, never. And also,
and that's only after you bring the money home.
Yes. Yes. And then
got to clarify some things.
Yeah. And also listen to your heart or that voice that's telling you, like, your conscious. Listen to yourself. Like, if something does not feel, go with your gut feeling, because if something does not feel right to you, it isn't right at all. Like, it isn't. No matter what people say, oh yeah, I got it, you're fine. Like, no, like, stick to your gut, like, listen to your gut, because there's a reason. If you look, Control isn't there anymore, the video, and that's mainly because I felt like my creative vision wasn't taken into account.
But to kind of summate, because this month we're doing self-care. Today we focus more on self-care for teachers or parents or whomever. But how are you now taking care of yourself better? I know you just gave us some things that now you're taking control of, but how are you dealing with that self-care? Because when I first met you, I didn't see self-care. I saw a robot.
Yes.
So but what is that?
Okay, so after me and management split, I actually took myself into a psychiatric hospital, and I stayed there for 3 days. And I voluntarily did that because I felt like I was a robot, and I felt like I was spiraling, and I felt like I was running from myself or like running away from something, and I didn't want to end up in a worse place than I already was.
Was your passion kind of blinding you to that?
Because I felt like I was so hungry to get somewhere that I wasn't listening to myself, or I wasn't listening or seeing because my parents were like, Whitney, no, like what's going on? I don't like this. And I didn't understand why. I was like, why don't you like this? Like, he's helping me get to where I want to be. Like, why? I didn't understand it. And then once I separated myself from that and actually sat down and had a conversation with myself, I couldn't recognize myself anymore. And I've suffered with depression for years, like since I was 13. So when I felt that, I was like, yeah, no, we have to do something about it, and I can't do this on my own. And I had to recognize that I couldn't do it on my own. And that's actually how me and my husband, like, we knew each other, we were friends for a while, but I didn't see him in the light that I started to see him until I took myself to the hospital. He was the first person to see me at the hospital. He got there before my dad even got there. I was because I'm still in school. I was on my way to school, and I just felt myself like wanting to drive my car off of a cliff. And so I got to school, parked the car, and I was texting him, and I was like, should I go to class, or should I take myself to the hospital?
And it's strange that you say that, because we've heard that a couple times this week. We was doing professional development for our job this week, and artists are so caught up in where they want to go. They're not recognizing where they are. And realizing where they are is no different than where they want to go. It's just the amount of money that you may have, or the amount of fame that you may have. And it's hard for us to really see where we are. And where we are could be bad decisions, bad people, just surroundings.
Terrible energy.
And then you find yourself, because your consciousness is fighting that the whole time. And then you're not understanding what the stress is and what the relationships of that is. How, coming out of that, like in those 3 days, what did you learn Like, I know all this stuff was going through your head, but what was the lesson from all of that?
I had to step out of myself and realize that what I'm going through isn't that bad. Like, life isn't that bad.
Right.
And whatever you want for yourself, you can always manifest it. And I realized that my brain is a lot more powerful than, like, me. Think my thoughts and my words are more powerful than we give them.
Simply you.
Yeah.
Because all that is a part of you.
Yeah.
And I think my mantra for this week was, I'm more than the sum of my parts.
Yeah.
And we give our parts a lot of power, and it's us. Like, you are powerful. And it's strange because I do see a different young lady sitting in front of me. But, sometimes you can't even say that to people. And I'm quite sure there were other people that were loved ones around you that couldn't say that to you because you will see what you see. Like, you will feel or make decisions based on what you want down the road versus right now.
I knew that something was wrong when my mom was like, "What's wrong with my daughter? Like, you used to be the shit." Like, literally she said that. And I was like, my mom thought that I was the shit. Like, so something has to be wrong for her to say that. And now that she loves her granddaughter, it's her first grandchild, but like she's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. Like, the person that you were last year compared to now is a completely different person." And like, I'm happy that she can say that to me, but I'm also like sad that I even had to get to a low place.
Right.
Like
so I'm gonna ask you 2 questions before we go to break. What are your boundaries? And then the second one is, what conversations did you give or have with those key people in your life in terms of monitoring and maintaining this new self?
My boundaries.
Like, mine, choke me up. Like, say, what is your problem? Like, what were those types of conversations that you had? Or whom?
I had a conversation with my mom, my dad, and my husband because those were the people constantly around me, and those are the people that I knew for a fact that no matter what, they would have my best interest at heart, and I could take whatever they said to me with wholeheartedly, and not get offended.
Right.
I just asked them to be honest with me about anything that they see, or if they see me spiraling, just take me to the hospital. Don't wait until I'm like in the bathroom crying or anything like that. Like, once you see something is off, just take me to the
Because we see too many entertainers that's when someone intervenes when they're
when
in the
it's too late.
spiral
versus
the warning signs and the signals that we can see from out here, and we just like, well, they gonna make their own decisions. Sometimes you saying it to a person could make them aware of it versus telling them what to do. So what are those boundaries now?
I keep not only myself but everyone around me accountable, and I also watch how people speak to me or treat me. Like, I won't allow you to speak to me or treat me any kind of way that I don't like. And I that's the same across the board for me. I learned that not even only through like being depressed and going through that, but like being pregnant. Like, people say, "Oh, you have to keep the mom happy," but there was a lot of times that people disregarded the fact that I was pregnant and tried to put their own feelings before me, and I had to say, "Yeah, no, if you're gonna do that, you can't be in my life."
And you go ahead to get used to being called difficult.
Yeah.
Because that's, when someone's trying to control your movements or what you say, you gotta say no, and you gotta be strong with it and move on, or erase them from your space, and not be afraid. Because difficult has been my middle name for a long time now, but because I started being more assertive with my no, and then I sit in it. Like, you can keep talking, but my answer will continue to be no.
Right. Until you learn to apologize or learn to come, I guess, correctly towards me, I will not speak to you. You will not be able to see me. You won't see, like, you won't have access to my social media. Like, you will just not be able to be around me. And I had to do that to a lot of, like, family members. And so.
Ooh. She in my lane.
Right.
But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back. Well, they'll be back.
Right.
On the Artist Exchange Radio Show with Miss Whitney Chante'l.
Thank you.
Long live hip hop. Y'all can go ahead and cry now. I'ma show these niggas what to do at one of your beats, man. I am Gas, by the way. Strong woman story should have been on CNN. Nobody knows what it's like being Gwen. Windows closed in the house, it ain't no CNN. Can't gain weight for years, she been being thin. Single mother, no help from the system. When they was giving out food stamps, she missed them. Birth certificate, baby daddy, she couldn't list them. But her son was so beautiful when she kissed him. Blame it on love, but nigga she could've died with. Destroyed the whole world and found out she was a side chick. The nigga loved his wife and it got hard to hide it. So when Gwen confronted him, he ain't even denied it. Her fault, depends on who you asking. She tried to be a stripper, but the tip out was taxing. Buying all the purses, trying to keep up with the fashion. And her mama hated babysitting with a passion. She deserved better, better circumstances. A black queen, she should've been blessed with certain chances. Looked down upon, getting all the hurting glances. Making men change up all the twerking stances. She never cried about the pain, only gritted her teeth. But most soldiers never get a flower or a wreath. She like G.I. Jane in the war with no relief. Don't recognize why killers was going through her beef. She said more prayers than the nun did. After seeing so much struggles with only one kid, the clinic said baby number 2 couldn't be undid. 9 months later, delivery and it's one big. But this time it was an older dude. But the shit happened so fast, she barely know the dude. Damn, but we all make mistakes though. And the older we get, that's how mistakes go. So he claimed the baby, now with no money. He said shit was hard and his dollars was kinda funny. Real was feeling like that was strike 2. So when it rains and pours, that's just how life do. She was thinking about her childhood and how life flew. Her daddy she always loved, but she never quite knew. This was before the bags and the cellulite grew. Other bitches in her shoe, no telling what they might do.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature. And I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do. And I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host now, Brother Noah, And I have the lovely Whitney Chante'l.
Yes.
Whitney Chante'l. In the earlier segment, Whitney has been here last year. She was just giving you the rundown on the things she's been up to for the last year. She's become a wife.
Yes.
She's become a mom.
Yes.
She has an EP that's out now.
Yeah.
And really fast, how can the people find your EP?
You can find my EP on SoundCloud only, and it's under I Am Whitney Chante'l. That is I Am WHITNEY CHANTEL.
And I'm going to be asking you that like 4 more times. So
That's
just
fine.
prepare for that.
That's fine.
So on this segment of self-love and self-preservation on the Artist Exchange Radio, I had a very interesting talk with Whitney. And in fact, I met Whitney outside as we were coming into the building, and I'm sure she thought I was just some random nigga trying to holler at her in the alley, because like where our office is, we have to go through this alley.
Yeah.
And she had like these punk rock boots on.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I need to say something. And come to find out, we were on the same show.
Yeah.
But Whitney was telling me some things about how she became an independent artist. And she's here today because she really wants to spread some information and some knowledge to the young women in the music industry. And I'm not even going to ask you a specific question. I want you to, as openly, as freely as you want to, tell your story and tell your truth.
Okay, so how I became an independent artist. Okay, so I started in probably 2016. I was going to school in Pennsylvania. But that wasn't working for me, so I left Pennsylvania, came back home, and just started messaging like people, finding recording studios and stuff like that. And I started to fund my own music.
Yes.
So that's how I initially became an independent artist. Then I was looking for, a team of people to help me. I've gone through like different PR people and marketing people and things like that. And I came across someone asked me to do like a Grammy show.
Yeah.
It was like a little show that I did, and I found management. And I was working with them for a couple of months, and I just felt like I didn't have any control of my own my own work anymore. My work didn't feel like mine anymore. It just didn't feel like I had creative control of my creations. I was just writing the music, but then I was also being told like I wasn't good at the same time.
Wow.
So just imagine like working with someone and giving them all of your stuff that you're working hard on, and then being told that you're not good enough. So that was happening, and then I went through a really bad depression, and then I ended up back completely independent because of that. Is there anything specific like with them?
So when it comes to the management that you had, and particularly as we see TV shows like Love and Hip Hop, or we just hear testimonies over social media on Facebook and Twitter of other young women who are in the music industry, who are up and coming, and we have a lot of toxic men who are using their status of I'm in the music industry, I can get you here, but it's really they want to get in your pants and control you and your image. So just what advice, just from your own story, could you give to young women out there who are facing the same thing?
Well, like I said before, don't mix business with personal. If you want to have a personal relationship with this person who says, oh, I can get you to where you want to be, just keep it personal. Don't allow them to control anything. Don't allow them to have any opinion or say so on your music or whatever your craft is, because it becomes, oh, this is my girl, this is my property, so I'm gonna just do this for her.
Yeah.
But not ask you about it, not tell you about it, just doing it for you. And then later on, okay, this is still my business, this is still me. So when talking about compensation or money, ooh, sorry about that.
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
When talking about compensation or money, it becomes tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to
slip and slide it out.
Yeah. It becomes really tricky. If you want this person's knowledge or help, I would say keep it just strictly business.
Yeah.
Because the men in this industry are grimy. The men in this industry are very manipulative, and they're really good at talking. Because to be in the music industry and entertainment, you're talking, you're doing interviews, you're talking all the time. So they know what to say to make you feel like, oh, he loves me, he cares about me, things like that. And most of the time, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. So that would be my advice, to just keep it what it is. And just,
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Because I'm pretty sure there are thousands of other girls out there that are facing the same thing and probably feel alone, and that there is no way out. So we need women like you to be on platforms to let them know it is okay to leave, to separate yourself from that situation.
Yeah, especially because when you're in a situation like that, you're not seeing the toxic traits, because you're thinking, this person is helping me, he or she cares for me in my craft, so they're going to make sure I'm good and things like that. Of course, they would never try to hurt me, things like that. So, and I also would say, just keep people, not even like within the relationship, keep your family and your friends that genuinely have your best interest at heart close to you. Because when things hit the fan, they'll be able to see it before you do. It's really hard to see toxic traits in a person when you're in love with the person, or you're infatuated, or you're just like googly eyes over them. So yeah, that would be my advice.
So in the last segment, you mentioned that you had reached your lowest point, that you needed to check yourself in to a ward, and you had your now husband there.
Now my husband. Yeah.
That was there, being that support rock for you. Is there any techniques that you do to maintain your self-care and your self-love beyond being a mother, beyond being a good wife? Is there things that Whitney does for herself, like a certain tea that you drink, or yoga, or just any particular thing that continues to help the self-love?
I do a lot of affirmations, which is something, it's crazy because that's something that I learned while being with the management, like affirmations and getting closer spiritually with the universe and things like that. But I do like affirmations every day. I drink tea. I try to drink a gallon of water every day. And I just listen to myself and my body. Like whatever I'm craving, whatever I'm needing, I do. But I try not to allow it to get excessive because I'm a Taurus. And once we have like something like food, like we love food. So like.
And y'all hard-headed too.
Yeah, we are. Oh, and it's crazy because me and my husband are both Tauruses.
How does that work?
It works.
Just ram's head every day, huh?
I think for me, I've learned how to not be so stubborn when it comes to him. And I've learned that if he's in a mood, I have to pick and choose when to be in a mood.
So it's a sense of compromising that is helping that out.
Yes. Compromising and understanding each other and knowing each other's limits. Because if I'm at 10 and he's at 10, we're not going to settle anything.
Right.
Until probably whenever one of us like decides to turn it down a little bit. So it's usually that way. Like if I'm upset, he's like, okay, so are we going to talk? And if he's upset, I like, okay, so how do we get through this?
Right. So what, keeping in mind that I asked you over the break, those independent artists that are out here in today's modern music industry that are able to have success in it, you mentioned that you wouldn't want to sign with any other record label unless it is a major record label. You don't want anybody who's coming up from the slums with you. Keeping that in mind, what do you want from your music career? Going through what you've gone through, moving into, as you're getting older, your mom, your wife now, what do you want from the music industry?
I think about this a lot, actually. I have to sit back and really think, I'm a mom and I'm a wife now. So I have these two other people who, whatever I do, it may or may not affect them. So I have to ask myself, do I want fame in money, or do I just want to create and be happy?
Yeah.
And I think most of the time I just want to create and be happy, and whatever comes with that comes with it. And it's not that I don't want to work with the up and coming record label. No, it's not that. It's more so when it comes to situations like that, they want to be in control of you. If a up and coming record label came to me and offered me something where like I could still be in control of what I create, and even if they didn't want to help me put it out, I could put it out on my own, then that would be great. That would be a great partnership for me. But if I'm not immediately benefiting, but you just want to take from me or to stop me from doing something, I would rather just go to a bigger label that's able to at least compensate me for not being able to create the way that I want to. Yeah.
So before we go to our break, can you please tell our folks who are just tuning in where they can find your EP?
They can find my EP on SoundCloud only at I Am Whitney Chante'l. That is I Am Whitney, Whitney, Chante'l, Chant'el, and it's all one word.
Thank you. And we'll be back on the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Yeah.
Yes. That was amazing.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay, yay, yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip. Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get out to the forest and discover the wonders of nature with your family, just like Blue, Jewel, and the whole Rio flock.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah! Woo-hoo!
Let's rock this jungle.
Woo!
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great!
And endless surprises.
Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're going to
this.
do is turn onto Marcy Avenue.
Just broke up
and go past the first 3 lights, and then take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
then drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat, and apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right?
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Yes, welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Brother Noah, and we have the wonderful, the fabulous, the talented Miss Whitney Chante'l. And really fast, for those who just joined us, can you please tell them how they can find your EP?
You can find my EP on SoundCloud at I Am Whitney Chante'l. That is I Am Whitney, Whitney, Chantel.
So you were telling me about this EP. You said that you dropped it on SoundCloud because you wanted to get it out there for yourself, for the fans that are out there looking for your music. And you were saying that a lot of that music was just explaining or its inspiration came for the things that you were dealing with in the past year.
Yes.
So this new chapter in your life, and I can see the glow that is on your face. I didn't know you last year. This is my first time meeting you, but there is an obvious glow on you now, on your aura.
Thank you.
And I can only pertain that to your own self-growth, the fact that you have a family now, So as you move on in this ever-growing music industry, what sounds could your fans expect from you now?
Well, I would say Conflicted was I would call it immature. It was very much college girl experiences. Going forward, it would still be fun, but it would be more in a mature way, like more like mimosas kind of way.
Right.
Mainly because I have grown a lot, and a lot of the things that I used to write about, which is like boys and heartbreaks and things like that, I'm no longer going through. Like, I can't write about a heartbreak.
Yeah.
Because I'm married. I mean, I can write about him pissing me off.
Right.
But it's never going to be the same as it was before. So that's all. It's just like, if Conflicted was right here, the next project is just going to be like one step up. It's more like life. Like, you can, through my projects, you can hear gradual like growth. So you're going through my life with me, type of thing. So I would describe it that way. Like, you're just going through life with me. Where you're taking a walk through my life with the next project. Yeah.
Do you see you both in the business and the artistic side of music? Do you find any aspect to be therapeutic for you?
Yes. I find actually performing, like, I love to actually like get on a stage, have a concept in my mind, and have it come to life on a stage. Very therapeutic. I find that, yes, going into the studio for most artists is usually that therapy for them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's cool for me, but I love like going to the drawing board, like thinking about like how I want the lights and like what I want to wear, and like really put it on the show for people. Like, that's very therapeutic for me. I just like performing. I just love the rush. I just like that feeling of giving myself vulnerably to an audience. Like, yes, sometimes of course you get nerves before you go on a stage, but like that's all a part of it for me. So that's another reason why I love like getting done with projects so that I can go and perform them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like it's nothing like listening to my music is fine, but even when I'm listening in my car, like I like to envision like what choreography would look like, what a video would look like to people. I'm a very visual person, so that's my therapy. And also like business deals or like meeting with people, setting up interviews, that's also therapeutic. Like coming here, like I'm 3 weeks postpartum. My daughter's only 3 weeks old.
Wow.
But as soon as I gave birth, I immediately I need an interview with Be Exposed. I have to be here. I have to talk.
Yeah.
As soon as I gave birth, I also set up like performances for myself. Like, wow. And my husband and my parents are like, Whitney, calm down. Like you just gave birth to a human. Yeah. And I'm just like, why isn't my body back to what it used to be yet? And they're like, Whitney, you literally lost 30 pounds. Calm down. Wow. Like, so yeah, that's very therapeutic for me.
So for the young girls that are out there who are facing facing similar issues that you have faced and are thinking about going independent, what advice could you give them just navigating the independent waters, your success, your failures? Because I know a lot of folks are kind of frightened to be independent.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work, and they prefer to have a team and such.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money. But you have to, one, believe in yourself and believe in your own talent. Sometimes that can be very hard. I get very discouraged. But I realize that I'm only 22. And I have to remind myself a lot that you're still a student. You're still learning. You're still perfecting your craft. And with time and practice, I will get better. Yeah. And I've seen the growth within the year. My voice also has changed because I'm a mom now. I didn't know that, but like when you give birth, you lose like an octave. Your voice gets deeper.
Wow. So,
which is exciting for me because I can now hit low notes that I haven't been able to before. But being independent, you just have to realize that you're human. So you know yourself and you know your limits. Know your limits. Set a put aside the money that you're going to use for your craft and your career, because you're paying for this out of pocket by yourself. And if you want the best of the best, it costs some money. People do their best work when they're paid. Yes, people have done favors for you, like build connections, network with people. People will work with you if they like you and they like what you're doing. But also you have to realize the further you go up, you're going to have to dish out some money.
Yeah.
And if this is what you want, set aside that money for yourself. Also remember to keep all your receipts. If you're buying clothes for yourself to perform in, and if you're doing your own makeup, that's a tax write-off. Yeah. This is a business. Yeah. Remember that you are a business, and that wherever you go, you're representing your business. I not only sing and dance, but I do makeup as well. So I have to do my makeup. This is my business card. I am my business card. And I find that when I go out and I have my makeup done, people come up to me and like, oh, do you do makeup? And I've been able to book things like that. And always remember to market yourself. Yeah. Like really take use of Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, because people are watching. Even if you don't realize, people are watching. So yeah, that would be my main advice to people who are scared to go independent. Take your time. Absolutely.
For now, in this world, we're in 2019. Our society is changing. The way that we give our creativity and the duality of life to the zeitgeist is changing. Everything is changing. The way that we view gender and sexuality and everything. But I do find, and I will share this as well, me being a man who has been in the psych ward before, and I've been in there for 3 months, the long stretch.
Right.
What do you think about the stigma that is on mental health when it comes particularly to the black community? Do you think that we are getting more understanding of it, or do you think that we're still in the box about it?
I can only speak from my own personal perspective.
Of course.
So it might be different for anybody else watching. I find that we are becoming more open and honest about our mental health. I found that back in the day, it was really hard for African American men and women to speak on their mental health and be okay with it. Yeah. Now I find that I can say, oh yeah, I spent some time in the psych ward, and I don't feel like someone is looking at me like I'm a
alien.
Yeah, basically, or that they don't feel scared of me in a way. Because when you think psych ward, sometimes you think straight jacket, and I wasn't in a straight jacket. I just needed time to clear my mind away from my actual life for a second, to sit back. Sometimes you just need to sit back and look at your life, to realize that it's not as bad, to realize that people have it way worse, and to realize that God or whoever you believe in has a plan for you, and that it's not gonna be this way forever. Like, trials and tribulations happen to push growth. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. So I find that in the African American community, yes, it used to be a taboo, but we are slowly and surely like becoming more open and honest about that conversation.
Now hold that thought. We will be right back on the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com. Yes, I agree.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run. The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game. That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm gonna talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a -65, which is just horrible. So when you have well, let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're.
Then your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like -65, this early in the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
The pitching numbers pretty much support this stat right here. I mean, the team ERA is 4.70, which is 26th in the league. They have 126 walks allowed. They acquired Jared Weaver in the offseason, and he really has not panned out. He's off to one of the worst starts in any of the pitchers in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
He's 0-4 with a 6.05 ERA. In May alone, he already has 12 earned runs in May. And, another one of their pitchers, Clayton Richard, he's 2-4 with a 4.34 ERA. And, in May, he has 6 earned runs and 12 innings pitched. So they're not pitching well. And on top of that, they are also not batting well.
Right. But it kind of sucks because Manuel Margot is doing pretty good. His the past few at bats, his last.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
First they love you, then desert you. Leave with a plate full with no spoon. Ain't no space, I can't escape negativity. I got used to the taste. I've been bad, burned, then fucked over. But remain strong through the past over. Kicking haters out of the way like masked over. Roll up, sip something, let it pass over. Who would I be? It ain't the man to me to let the next man take advantage of me. When that storm come, no pan I see. Get with it, not without it, then you'll see. I beat the haters, they know I'm greater. That's why they buzzing for the elevator. But I can't save you, the weed too loud on the pedal stool. Don't carry fakers, always got your hand out demanding favors. When I just looked out, now you need more paper.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Yes, welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com. I am your host, Brother Noah, and we have the magnetic, the beautiful, the dynamic Whitney Chante'l. I'm falling in love with this girl every minute of this segment. She is an amazing young lady, and her story is powerful, and her story, I'm sure, will touch a lot of other young women who are facing similar situations in this tricky music industry.
Yeah.
And it's not just the music industry, it's the acting industry, it's the art industry. When you mix art and toxic masculinity, when you mix toxic masculinity with anything, it will create some bullshit. But Miss Whitney, before we get into your love story, tell us where we can find your EP.
You can find my EP only on SoundCloud at I Am Whitney Chante'l. That is I Am Whitney, WHITNEY, It's all one word. You can find it there.
So, because I'm pretty sure that maybe in a couple years, maybe in a couple months, depending on how fast you're moving, we might hear a little love song. So, tell us about your love story.
Okay, so we met 3 years ago. I was working at a makeup stand, and
her makeup is on fleek.
Thank you. I was working at a makeup stand in the mall, and I was just bored. It was like a slow day for me, and I saw this guy like walking down, and usually like guys stop and speak to me, and I'm like, whatever, bye. But this time, something in me like told me to like speak, so I said hi. And he was just like, oh, hi. And he had like those Charlie gummy worms in his hand. Those are my favorite gummy worms. So he was like, oh, you want some? And I was like, yeah. And so we started talking. And then the lady who worked at the stand next to me was like, oh, is that your boyfriend? Like after he walked away. Right. And I was like, no, I just met him. And she was like, y'all have a really good connection. Like, that's weird. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we would talk, but I never pursued it in that way.
Yeah.
He was just a friend.
Yeah.
So for years we were just friends, and he would like ask me on dates and things like that. But I just was like, yeah, nah. Like, you know, when you meet someone that you can tell anything to, and they just not passing any type of judgment on you, you want to keep that person in your life. And I just felt like if we became more than just friends, I would potentially lose this person in my life, and I just didn't want to do that. So I kept him as a friend for a while, and then when I went through all of this stuff, he wasn't, you know, that person that's like in your life but like not constantly like in your life, just on the side, not
very sporadic.
Very sporadically. Yeah, whenever I needed him, whenever I just needed someone to talk to, he was always there. And it was just really weird, like, how is this attractive person like always there for me? Because usually the ones that I'm attracted to are terrible. Wow. And they're very judgmental, and they're very like too cool for that. Yeah. So for him to not be like that, I was just like, what is this? Wow. This is different for me. And I really just wanted to keep that. So when I went through everything I went through, and I was able to talk to him about it, and him not be judgmental, and him not look at me like I was crazy or like anything negative, for him to just be open and willing to love me like through whatever, was just something I had never experienced before, especially not from anyone outside of my family. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know what took me so long to be with this person, but I want to see if we'll work out in a relationship. And as soon as we started dating, I started getting these like visions of a baby. I started to get dreams of like a baby boy. Wow. And I was just like, does anyone in your family like have these features or anything like that? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, huh, okay. So maybe like God's just like telling me something. Yeah. And then lo and behold, I ended up pregnant. Wow. And we were talking about marriage before I got pregnant. Before we were even together, we were talking about getting married. And I didn't think that it would happen this fast or this soon. Because we're both like perfectionists. We wanted everything to be perfect. But God had a plan, and I just like whatever is meant for me will be for me. So I ended up he ended up proposing to me, actually like proposing to me.
Interlude, how did he propose?
Okay, so I knew we were going to get married, so I was already calling him my fiance. So everyone around me was like, oh, tell me the story. And I'm like, oh, well, technically I don't have my ring yet, but we are getting married. Yeah. And so one day we argued. Like, it was like the worst day of my life. I was taking like summer classes. I was like 8 months pregnant. I was taking summer classes. I was doing really bad in math, and I was like so like upset because I was like, I have to pass this class. The day, I think it was the day before I took my math final, or the day of my math final, he pissed me off so bad that I was just like, fuck it. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're fine.
I was like, fuck it, we're just not going to get married right now. That's fine, whatever. I don't even care no more. So I just like came with the terms that he probably wasn't going to propose. So that night at midnight on July 21st, no, June 21st, because we got married July 12th. So on June 21st, I was crying in my bed, like upset, like mad, like, Mom, he's not going to give me my ring, da da da, we're upset, like he's mad at me, he just left out to go to the store. So he asked me like, do you want something from 7-Eleven or something like that? And I was like, no, I'm good, like mad, pouting. Then he calls me and was like, please don't be mad, like please don't tell your dad, because we were at my parents' house at this point. He was like, please don't be mad, don't tell your dad, but I hit the car. Like, just come outside. I hit the car, like, come help me, like, don't tell your parents, but like, I hit the car. So like, oh fuck, he done fucked up the car, let me just go outside. Mind you, like, I have cornrows in my head because I was wearing a wig. Yeah. I don't have my contacts in, I don't have my glasses on, and like I have no shoes on. Yeah. Because I'm like about to go to sleep. So I don't even think to grab my glasses. So I'm running outside, I'm like, what would you done did? Like, what, like standing by the door, like what's going on? Why you hit the car? Like, what's going on? Right. And I hear he has my car on, and he's playing our song, which is "You and I" by John Legend. and he has on a suit. But like I can't see clearly, so I'm like, what is this blob doing? Like, why is he just standing in the middle of the street? Get out the street. It's like midnight. Like, what are you doing? So I hear the song and I'm like, no way. Why are you just, huh? And he's like, come down here. And I'm like, huh? What's going on? Like, what you doing?
Right.
I'm all barefoot, all ugly. Like, what are you doing? And then he gets on his knee, and I'm like, what's going on here? And like, I have to squint because I'm really blind.
Right.
I have to squint, and like, I'm like, oh, that's shiny. That's really shiny. That's shiny. So then he proposed, and I'm like, of course, like, yes. I was pissed all day, like, yes. Yes. And so after I run this out, I'm like, Mom, Dad, will you love me? And then on July 21st,
June 21st.
Pregnancy brain still, sorry. Okay, so June 21st, we got engaged.
Yeah.
July 12th, we got married.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I had our daughter on July 30th.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this has been a busy summer for you.
Yeah. EP. Then I passed all my classes in the summer.
Congratulations.
And then I got engaged, and then I got married and had a kid. Yeah.
And I just found that to be so amazing because that is the duality of life.
Yeah.
Just a year ago, everything is everything.
It's completely different.
And a whole year later, child, married, happy.
Yeah.
And moving on into the independence of the music industry.
That's literally all I have to worry about now.
Wow. So this is my next question. Going through what you've gone through, being a lady in the music industry, being a mother, being a wife, what do you think is the future of black femininity?
Elaborate a little bit more.
So I believe that a lot of black women are, for lack of a better term, strong, reclaiming their time.
I know what you're talking about.
If I can put that phrase out there.
Black femininity. I want to say that we're embracing it a little bit more, but I also know a lot of women who are like, I don't need a man. If that's where you're going with that question.
I want that question to be from your own circumstance, what you see. So if you think that, I see a lot of women who are saying, I don't need no man, then you can elaborate on that. Or just from your own perspective, do you feel that there are more opportunities out there for jobs and as far as artistry, as far as business, being a black woman?
Of course. I feel like we're embracing our melanin a little bit more in the music industry, of course, because back in the day, it was like you had to look a certain way to be popular in music.
Yeah.
But now people like Normani are able to come out and be feminine and be sexy and be those things, and we are more accepting of it. And Beyonce can put out a whole album about beautiful black skin, and people love it and embrace our like true roots. If that's where you were going with that. Yes. I feel like we're definitely stepping into a good era for progression and expanding more on not just like the brown paper bag test. Like that's not the only kind of woman that can be successful.
Absolutely.
Or that's not the only type of woman that can be sexy but still respected, if that makes sense. Because I feel like back in the day, darker skinned women, if they were sexy, were automatically pinned as promiscuous.
Absolutely.
And now women of a darker skin complexion can be sexy and strong and all those things, and it be accepted as how it is instead of promiscuous or raunchy or something, or ghetto.
Yes.
So
So keeping that ideology in mind, what legacy do you want to leave for your daughter?
That she can do whatever she wants to do. That mommy was able to be pregnant and still go to school and still work and still, after having her, able to push Like, I told myself when I even found out that I was pregnant that I was not going to allow my daughter to be a crutch for me, or not allow her to stop me from doing anything that I wanted to do because I felt like there was a lot of people at the time, like, getting pregnant and dropping out of school and then later on regretting it. And I was just like, no, because I don't want my daughter to ever feel like she held me back from doing anything, or she was a mistake, because she was a God-given blessing.
Absolutely.
Yes, I'm only 22 years old, but I know for a fact that she was a blessing to me. She helped me get through a very dark time in my life, and I made the decision to have this beautiful little girl, and I wanted to show her that nothing in life should be taken for granted. Everything is a blessing or a lesson, and no matter what life throws you with, you can do whatever you want to do. And no matter how hard it gets, you can still do whatever you want to do. I did not want my daughter to feel like she had any type of roadblock, or if she did this, her life was over. I didn't want her to feel like that.
Gotcha.
And I felt like if I felt like that, she would be raised to feel like that. Like, if I was like, oh, I had a daughter, so now my life is over, I have to stay at home and take care of my kid. Like, well, of course, take care of your kid, but you know, I can't do anything else. Like, I'm just a mother. Like, no. But I wanted to also implement and show my daughter that you can be in a loving household, you can be in a loving home. Like, I didn't just want to have a baby and me and my husband feel like co-parents. Like, I wanted to still go out on dates, show my daughter what real love looks like. So that's what's really important to me, to show my daughter and to teach my daughter, like, what real love is and how to go through life in a happy way, and understand that even if you have a child at a young age, your life isn't over. Because whatever you're doing in life, that child is going to come in to that and see that. And if you're happy parents raise happy children.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Happy parents raise happy children.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Miss Whitney Chante'l, please, before I ask you about the EP, give us all of your social medias. Give us your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever that you are on.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at I am Whitney Chante'l. You can also find me on Twitter at Whitney Chante'l without the E. So Whitney, WHICNEY, CHANTL, no E. You can also find me on Facebook at I am Whitney Chante'l. So everything's I am Whitney Chante'l, but I also have a website that's whitneychantel.com.
Wow, okay.
So yeah.
And your EP?
My EP, you can find it on SoundCloud at I am Whitney Chante'l. It's all one word. That's I am Whitney Chante'l, CHANTEL. But you can also find all my other music on other platforms like Apple Music and Spotify, and also Tidal at I am Whitney Chante'l or Whitney Chante'l.
And because our segment for the last month or so, a couple weeks, has been self-love, self-preservation, understanding the situation, your story, your growth, and the happiness that you are in now, give us 2 daily affirmations that you say to yourself that get you through the day.
That's hard, only 2. I am worthy, and I am blessed.
I am worthy and I am blessed.
Yes.
And that is it. Now, wait, before we go, give me that EP one more time.
Okay, you can find my EP, Conflicted, on SoundCloud at I am Whitney Chante'l. That is I am Whitney, CHANTEL. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miss Whitney Chante'l, for coming on the Artist Exchange Radio. You have been a joy and a pleasure. It has been an honor to have met you.
Thank you guys for having me. Great meeting you too as well.
Yes. And we will see you guys next Friday for some more guests and some more topics on self-love, self-preservation. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Artist Exchange Radio here on BeExposedRadio.com. Yes! High five, we did that. Oh my goodness.
Like, the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like, yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. No matter what you up, you gotta go hard. Don't matter. Can you imagine how I really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father dead. Mom's bringing different niggas in and out the crib. No money, so you seen this less than all your friends. But it a joke because your mother was a crackhead. Older sister hoeing off, giving all the homies head. I could wait for your response, but they love to hear me talk, so I just wait for the applause. I always knew that I was great, I got them haters so appalled. I'ma make it out the darkness, and my word is my bond. Delivering these bars while I'm gripping on my balls. Jealous niggas hate to see you succeed, so fuck them all. I'm the man.